All right, today we are going to wrap up indicator 7 by looking at the last section, indicator 7.4. Okay, now you can see here that we have two different graphs that we're looking at. We got x plus 2y equals 4, and then 3x minus 2y is equal to 6. I'm going to look at both of the methods that we've talked about on how to graph something like this, while still identifying the slope, the y-intercept, and the x-intercept. Okay, the first way that we've talked about was trying to put things into slope-intercept form. Okay, which for us is going to be y equals mx plus b. Okay, so if we do that for this first one, we've got x plus 2y is equal to 4. First thing that we're going to do is we'll take x to the other side. Now, those are going to cancel out, so I've got 2y. I can't combine those, so that's going to be negative x plus 4. Now, again, we want it to be y equals mx plus b, so we've got to get rid of the number in front of y. So everything here is going to be divided by 2. Now again, we cancel, so we're left with y is equal to. Here, we're going to leave that as a fraction. It's actually going to be negative 1/2 x, and then 4 divided by 2 is just going to be 2. Okay? Now, with that, we can go through and identify some things for our graph. First of all, we can identify the slope right away. That's going to be the number that's right there in front of the x, which is negative 1/2. What we can also identify is the y-intercept. That's going to be the number that comes after this, which in this case would be 0, 2. Now, the tougher part about this is that we are trying to solve for the x-intercept as well. Okay, so this is actually going to take a little bit of work. Okay, if you remember, what we did is we plugged 0 in for y. So 0 is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 2. Now what we would then do is subtract 2 from both sides. So I got negative 2 is equal to negative 1/2 x. Okay, and then we want to get rid of that fraction. So what we would look to do is multiply both sides by negative 2, which would give us 4. Okay, because that would cancel out, which means that our x-intercept is 4, 0. Okay, so that was really the actual first way that we went through to try to solve something like this and graph it. Okay, and again, we're always looking for these three things: the slope, which in this case was negative 1/2, that was the number in front of x; the y-intercept, which was this number right here; then we just solve for our x-intercept. Okay, so I'm going to graph this. My y-intercept is 0, 2, so I'm going to be right here. My slope is negative 1/2, which means down 1 over 2. Okay, and then it went down 1 over 2 again. You can see right there is that 4, 0, that intercept that we were talking about. Okay, and with that, we can go through and try to just sketch our line out the best that we can. Okay, again, that was really the first way that we went through trying to graph something like this. The other way is what happens when it's in standard form. Okay, we got ax plus by is equal to c. Well, what we can do is find the two intercepts. Okay, now on this, what we've done is break this up into two equations, where it would be 3x equals 6, and then negative 2y is equal to 6. And we'll look to solve both of those. Okay, so I'll divide by 3, which gives me x equals 2. Okay, and then I'll divide by negative 2, which would give me y equals negative 3. Now, what those numbers represent, okay, first of all, the x value would be the x-intercept, which is 2, 0. And then the y value would be the y-intercept, which would be 0, negative 3. Now, you'll notice that we don't know what the slope is just yet. Well, on one like this, we actually have to go through and just sketch our graph out. Okay, so what we would do is plot our points. Our x-intercept here is 2, 0. So there's our point. Our y-intercept is negative 3, 0. So we're going to be looking at something like that. Now, to find the slope, we'll count from this point to this point. Okay, first of all, we go up 1, 2, 3. Since we're going up, that's going to be a positive 3. And then over 1, 2. So that's going to be 2. Okay, so what we've seen here are, again, two different ways to go through and solve. Okay, it's completely up to you which way you're more comfortable with. Sometimes it's easier to convert it to y equals mx plus b, graph it. You just got to plug 0 in to find your x-intercept. Other times it's easier to break it apart to find the two intercepts. We found the x-intercept, which was 2, 0. a y-intercept, which is 0, -3. On that, we don't know the slope right away, but once we plot those 2 points, then we can find the slope.